Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Weekly Collective. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. I hope everybody's doing great today. So good to see you. So this is an auspicious day to have a reading because there's a lot of celestial events happening from the partial solar eclipse to a new moon. And I'll probably hop on right after lunch today to do a specific reading just for that. We'll touch on it today here, maybe pull a card each, but I'll go a little bit deeper later. Suffice it to say, this will be present in the whole reading. But for the Weekly Collective, which is what we're all joining in on here, here's how I normally look at it. We're going to start with some channeled messages, go into a 7-day forecast, the elements, and a special topic today, which is whatever needs to come through. So why don't we get started? There's a lot to talk about. Channeled messages today. What came through this morning was a symbol of strength, but there was also kind of like a bittersweet element to it as well. So I saw the image of a thistle. I say bittersweet because sometimes I remember when I was a kid and I went to kind of like smell it, and you touch the little prickles on the side and you're like, ouch. And I think a lot of us are having that ouch moment right now where maybe there's something that isn't exactly the way that we want it to go, whether it's the world, our job, our finances, our health. But what I love about thistles are their strength. And they have the ability to grow where other species can't. And there's also this protective element with the thistle. I think back to the story of like its national flower, is it Scotland, I think? But wherever the national flower is, it was basically because it warned the soldiers of coming, like soldiers in the night that were trying to come into town. So I like that it has this ability for like protection, strength, and perseverance. And these are things that we should embrace in life. Sometimes there's a little pain. Sometimes the pain makes us stronger. And in this moment in time, I'm going to try to help us look at how to persevere, how to embrace the moment, how to get past things. I also think thistles are beautiful. Beautiful purple color, right? It's like the color of the crown chakra. So if we think to another sort of blossoming symbol, for instance, any of the water lilies and anything that kind of goes through the muck and the mud and comes out and becomes beautiful. Lotus blossom is what I was trying to think of. There is this sort of symbol of I got through it. I went through it and I became stronger because of all the grime, the dirt, the muck, or in life, the pain, the difficulty, and the setbacks. So know this. We're kind of, in this moment, I think we're in our thistle phase right now on Earth, where we're having to also kind of create this thicker skin to survive things, but there can still be something beautiful despite whatever might be going on around it, right? So yeah, this is a symbol that comes through time and again for me, but this time guides really wanted me to talk about the perseverance of it, the protection element of it, and also the fact that not everything in nature is like, even roses have spines, right? Not everything is going to look like a daisy, for instance. Some things have a different shell but have this beauty within. So let's try to find the beauty in a not so beautiful moment on the planet and see if we can't help each other persevere. Let me see if there's anything else that wants to come through right here, right now. The other thing that I'm being shown is, it's really interesting, like the heel of the foot. And I feel like what this has to do is like, I'm looking at how someone's walking. And really first of all, to make sure that as you enter into this week and through these celestial events that are happening today, that you're grounded and taking a step, the first step or the next step, depending on where you're at in your process, is going to be very important. And for those of you that may have foot pain, that's also coming through, like take care of yourself. Interestingly enough, the feet, which sustain us each and every day of our lives, we really don't pay much attention to them until something goes wrong. So take care of your feet today. And also, if you have a chance to get out, I mean, it's not great weather everywhere, but assuming it's not raining or it's not cold, and you can put your feet on the ground, or if you're lucky enough to be close to a beach or something like that, even the grass, just plant them on the ground and think, I'm here today. My feet are on solid ground. I know who I am. I know what I want. And that solid energy is going to help you out. Okay, let's say hi to Apollo, and then we're going to get into the next phase of the reading. He sometimes likes to chew the rug before we get started, partially so he can get himself a little snack. So there we go. Apollo is being a mostly good boy. Might have to move the rug in a moment. Let's go ahead and get into our 7-day forecast next. And I'll keep an eye out for any of the thistle moments that might come through. Okay, let's get started. Good to see everybody. I will probably gift 5 memberships today because I want to make sure I get them gifted before the month is out. More to come in just a moment. Okay, I have 2 different decks here. Let me see which one wants to be used for this. King of Cups. Okay, Justice. All right. Yeah, Apollo's amazing. He only chews on his bed or his rug and his toys. He's a good boy mostly, so I just let him be. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All right, lots of reversals. I think this particular deck just needed to be shuffled more, but there was one upright, so we'll do it card by card. Okay, we're going to start off with the energy for today. I try not to question things too much when they come through, but I think this makes sense since we have eclipse energy coming as well. So an eclipse brings us through a moment of questioning. Sometimes when we don't see something, we panic. And so I'm going to try to help us pull these cards in the upright. So a reverse justice card for today is really talking about the need to create better balance in your life and not to be afraid of saying no. And I feel like I've had a chance over the past week or so to reiterate that in different single card pulls. So if there's something that isn't in alignment, if there's something that doesn't feel right, I think it's really important today to simply say, I don't want this. You have it within your capacity to create better balance in your life. And for each of you, that's going to look a little bit different. And the balance could be prioritizing health, family, work, finances, finding something that normally is ignored or might be missing and saying, you know what, today I'm going to remedy this and I'm going to make it work. This can also be simply fighting for what's right. If you feel like there's something that is unjust, unfair, or just imbalanced, you're going to say, you know what, today I'm going to, again, address this. And it's hard sometimes because we wish that other people would just come through and make it work. But you're your own best advocate when it comes to all of this, and today is a day to really look at things like that. If you have a contract in front of you, make sure that it's fair, and if there's something that doesn't serve, doesn't suit, doesn't adhere to what it is that you've agreed to or wanted, then today is the day to basically say, we need to talk, okay? So overall, I like Justice, whether she's upright or whether she's reversed, and she's going to help us find balance today. The sole upright card in this 7-day spread, let's take a look at Monday. We have the Empress card in the upright position. This is a great day to begin, to launch, to discuss, to foster anything that it is that you want into existence. This is also a really good time to speak up and take the wheel. Your leadership and your ability to sort of make a splash. Monday's the best day so far. I also love all of the growth that we see here along the bottom, and you have a great chance to take something to the next level. In meetings, you should speak up. If there's any sort of opportunity to connect with someone, Monday is also a great day to do that. Really, the Empress is an amazing way to begin the week, so don't hesitate, and let's move on to the next day. I have to take that little rug away from Apollo, so we'll move on to the next card here momentarily. All right, moving on to Tuesday, we have the King of Cups coming through. King of Cups energy is in reverse, and with the King of Cups, there is a need to prioritize your own happiness, health, and well-being. And some of that energy of the sort of maternal vibe on Monday can sometimes be overreached. So I would say make sure that you're not neglecting your own health and happiness. In this particular deck, it's kind of interesting that we have, it's like a fox, right? So there may be someone that's trying to use or tap into your emotions in a way that is manipulative, persuasive. They're trying to get what they want. So you may be able to see through that kind of self-serving motive, and remind them, have stronger boundaries when it comes to that, because we can all be manipulated with people that are they know who we are. A lot of times, believe it or not, it's friends and family, or even a boss, someone that knows you very well and knows that if they say this at this time, it's going to evoke a certain response. So don't make any decisions if you're feeling intense emotions, anger, frustration, whatever it might be. Take a step back, breathe, and give yourself some space. This is also a day where you might have a lot coming through creatively, and it's going to be important for you to channel those emotions in a constructive way. Also, release any perfectionist tendencies, just get it out on paper. Know that there'll be plenty of time later to get things letter and word perfect. Someone may just be spilling the tea too. I would avoid gossip on Tuesday as well. Overall, I like the King of Cups because he's a great leader, but it could just be an overshare. And I think that's something that happens when we feel too comfortable with people. So try not to overshare, err on the side of privacy, and assume that anything you say can and will be shared with others. It's kind of like can and will be used against you in court. So don't share something that you don't feel comfortable having everyone and your mother know. All right, so I talked about the heel that came through in the channeled messages. So on Wednesday, we have the Fool. The Fool in the reverse position can represent a sidestep, a step backward, or maybe just a little bit of slower progress than what you were looking for. So don't beat yourself up, because part of if you were to chart everything on a graph, it would look a lot differently. So when in the moment, we feel like the sidestep or step back or pause, because it could just be a pause, it feels like it's much worse. If you were to chart it, you're probably still going in the right direction. But if you don't, I was just talking about the need to kind of take a step back. This is for sure a day to do just that. What I love about the choice of flower is it's a morning glory. And you know I love a good totem and a good floral totem too. Morning glories are beautiful and named as such because every morning it blooms for exactly one day and then dies. So that flower opens up. And if you've ever been lucky enough to see a morning glory, it kind of captures the sun just like you see there. It's this beautiful little flower and the sun is reflected in the center. And yeah, it's like these little cups of sun, different colors, whites, yellows, majestic blues and purples, and one day. So it's one day in time. Don't sweat the small stuff. Tomorrow will be a new day. It's something that we all need to hear sometimes. If today was the worst day, okay, let it go. Tomorrow's probably going to be much better. If today was the greatest day, don't expect amazing things every day. Just take it one step at a time. So the morning glory tells you it's a reset. And rather than carrying the drama or trying to repeat the success of yesterday, it's just today, okay? It's another day. There'll be another one tomorrow, all right? I know it's hard. Sometimes we put our foot in our mouth. Sometimes we make a mistake. But on Wednesday, don't sweat the small stuff. You'll get another day tomorrow, which is what we're looking at. Nice segue. All right, on Thursday, it's much, much better too. We have the Lovers coming through. There could be someone new stepping into your life because we saw a movement card. We have the King of Cups, the Fool, and now the Lovers. So there could be a water sign that's entering into your life. You might be ready to show another part of yourself this week. You might be healing something in love, but suffice it to say the Lovers is one of the best energies you can get. I like to refer to this as magnetic energy because it's just the frequency of love. So if you're in a heightened and positive state, other people can get pulled into that and get excited about what it is that you're bringing into the world. Your persuasive energy is in a really good place. Now, if we get 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, or Lovers in the reverse position, there could be a lot of expectations placed upon you. And the way that it's done, again, there's a slight manipulation in love this week or affection. People could say something like, if you love me, you would do this. To which I would say, that's a conditional approach. That's not how unconditional love works. If you loved me, you wouldn't say things like that. If you loved me unconditionally. So that's what you need to kind of remind yourself, like with all due respect, that's an unnecessary condition on a energy that doesn't really need it. So don't let someone guilt you, pressure you, or somehow manipulate you into doing something this week that you don't want. Let's use the word persuade, but it's strong when people use that feeling of love and use it as a negotiating tactic, because then there's almost this ability to infer that if you don't, does the love stop? And why is this, anyway, you know what I'm saying. On the bright side, there could just be someone coming into your life unexpectedly, and it's about looking around, looking up in this position or this particular situation and seeing, oh, wait, I wasn't aware that this could happen. Don't be limiting in your thoughts or in your approach towards what you can receive, because after all, love is something that is given freely, and there's no limit really on the love that you can receive. So allow yourself to receive more. At the end of the week, we have the moon. And for the moon, it did come through in the reverse position. I feel like it might take us a full week to sort through the new moon energy and the eclipse energy that we're feeling today. So let's just look at the card in the upright position. Usually you'll see some sort of crustacean at the bottom, like a lobster. And normally there's a path. Here we see the embodiment of the moon in a person with it looks like it's just two wolves in this deck. Usually there's a wolf and a dog. So what this represents is seeing your hopes, your fears, and being able to talk about whatever possibilities are in front of you without fear, letting the fear go. So what is it this week that you think could be the worst case outcome, the worst thing that might come through? What are you afraid of? You have a chance to overcome this fear by the end of the week. And if you know today what it is you're trying to deal with, I'm afraid I won't have enough time. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of my finances. I want to make sure that my health is okay. I'm afraid someone won't love me. Now you know your fear. Now you can start to dispel it or understand why it exists or persists. And the moon really wants to empower us to release something like that, because it really doesn't help us in the long run. It's a day for new illumination and maybe a new epiphany. When you look at this, it's almost like a lamp, right? But the moon lacks its own light. It's a reflection. So make sure that you're not distracted by someone else's projection, that you're not mistaking something else that looks like it's the thing for the true source, which is usually you. You're the source, but the moon is the reflection. It's not the source. So go to the source. If you need something done, talk to the decision maker. If there's something that you need to deal with, you're going to the root of the issue. We're not looking at the surface, even though it looks like it's the shiny part. The source of light's over there. So if you have like a little rash here, it could be something that you're eating. It could be nerves. It could be something else. This is just the reaction. So we're looking past the reaction, the distraction, or the reflection, and we're going to the root, the source, or basically the center of whatever it is that you need to deal with. I hadn't really looked at the moon that way, but because it shows up like a light bulb on this person's head, it's reminding me of that. Something looks like it's the source. Someone is acting like a gatekeeper. We talked a little bit about that today in the daily. But it's kind of like that line in Star Wars, these are not the droids you're looking for. It's a trick of the mind. Okay, let's move on to the energy of Saturday. So we have a Four of Pentacles card here. This is beautiful. I still might like the original on this, but we can see what she's doing is holding the coins close to her heart. And typically, Four of Pentacles, it can be a resource limitation in which you're just not getting the essential energy that you need. But it's convenient, it's in front of you, it's predictable, it's the devil you know. So my invitation on Saturday is, if something isn't enough, don't hold on to something that isn't enough. Here's a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith version of it. He's got the coins on every possible part of his body so he can watch them all the time. There's sort of this scarcity mindset with this. This is as good as it gets. This is good enough. At least I know what to expect, even if I'm not getting treated well, even if I'm not getting what I need. this is just the beginning. She's rising up here. So you can look at it as a foundational card. That's the way to switch it around. Say, or is this just one possibility? Is this just the ground floor? What's on the next level? So I'd encourage you on Saturday to explore and see if there is more, see what more is possible, see what else is out there. And we can also look at this as a chance to be more forthcoming. In a relationship, if you get the Four of Pentacles with a partner, a friend, or whomever, they're holding back. They're protecting their heart because they're afraid that it might be trampled upon. So this is where we access the inner thistle energy, and you just kind of push through, and you're like, no, you're strong, I'm strong, let's get through this, okay? If someone offers you an offensively low offer, say thanks, but no thanks. Four of Pentacles is not enough. It is not worth it. Don't work harder than you should, especially if you are consistently underappreciated. Know your worth. Okay. Now let's move on to a week from today and look at next Sunday. So now we're having a card of realization. The Two of Swords in the reverse position is saying, there may be no obvious answer in front of me, but I feel drawn to go in this direction. I want to look at this. You're allowing yourself to see beyond the 3D, see beyond the physical. 2 and 8 of Swords are blindfolded, and it's saying that the answer isn't going to be the obvious answer, and that there may be something where you're going to have to chart your own course. The mentors that you normally go to, the books that you normally read, the things that have worked before, they're not working now. And that's okay, because the one thing that is consistent on this planet is change. And we're guaranteed that from time to time, we're just going to have to invent. So this is a day where you're going to have to do something that is different, and it may not be clear. Now, you can get inquisitive with the Two of Swords. I don't understand. Can you show me what you mean? You can also ask a question. Have we considered this? Especially if something seems short-sighted. It's like having the horse blinders on. Why aren't we looking over here? Or should we consider something, that we've done or we haven't finished in the past? Like you're trying to turn the direction in a different path, because sometimes there's just not enough options in front of you. So you can pause if you need to and research and ask questions. Let's look at the highlights and the challenges, and then we'll get into the elemental forecast. Everything that you see, unless otherwise mentioned today, by the way, is for the collective, okay? So I think highlights of the week. The middle looks pretty good. Monday's fantastic, and there's kind of this journey that happens from Tuesday to Thursday. So I would say Monday and Thursday are kind of like the strongest points. The biggest challenge could be next Sunday, and the rest of the week is pretty manageable. I think one unnecessary kind of tripping point could be Saturday, and I would avoid anything financial that day because it looks like you might not get the best deal. The middle of the week is the best time for relationships. Stepping into something new, launching something new. It's actually a pretty manageable week by and large. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next portion of this forecast, which is going to be elements. So we're going to look at fire, earth, air, and water. It's the only part of today's reading that is going to be specific to the signs. So welcome, everyone. And at this point, I'm going to pause because I can, and I'm going to gift 5 of the memberships that I have. So enjoy. All right. While I'm doing that, let's go ahead and shuffle and see what's coming forth. I am doing more stuff with memberships, and we'll talk about that later. Fire, earth, air, and water. Okay, finally some more upright cards here, except for fire. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You're walking away from conflict. You're elevating conversations, and you're stepping into a role of leadership, because the 5 of Wands is the antithesis of those things, and it was reversed. So this week, some of you may have just felt like you are just, what is it, like treading water, or you're like, it's like the car where it's in the mud and it's not doing anything. And so there's this moment to say, is there a better path? More collaboration, more cooperation, and a more sort of sense of community than there's been before. Because in this card, we normally see people wasting time, pushing all 5 wands against each other, trying to show who's the best when they're missing the overarching idea that they could be better together. And that's kind of your theme. Better together. Let's work on teamwork. Let's find mutual goals. And if I can't get people in that energy, I'm not going to waste my time. Some of the 5s are that way. 5 of Swords, they're not listening. 5 of Wands, they're not cooperating. 5 of Pentacles, they're not connecting, and you're not getting the resources that you need. 5 of Cups, you're missing the blessing. It's a missing card. There's a perspective in every single 5. So in this 5, it's like, there's a better way to work, smarter way to work, more collaborative way to make this happen. And so this week you want to not get trapped in cliques or circles or groups of people that are engaged in this sort of waste. And if they are, try to help them. The next card is a leadership card, 6 of Wands. The one before it, 4 of Wands, is a friendship card. So in a group like this, let's say if I was a part of it or if I was overseeing it, I would break it up. Because all the wands are going to be stronger apart. Take 3 people together, you got the 3 of Wands and the 2 of Wands. So we have someone that could brainstorm and someone that could execute on that idea better. You could pull them all in their separate ways, all have them be aces. But you get what I'm saying. The mathematics is going to work out more favorably. 4, you could create some sort of great friendship building situation, have another person off on their own. So either get them to work together or split them up. This isn't working. And sometimes this is endemic to a, or sort of like just part of a larger corporate, school, governmental situation where it's part of the culture. And in that situation, it's a little more difficult and you might be deciding to just make a more permanent disconnection. But I think I've basically highlighted this. You're going to work together stronger, or you're going to go in your own directions and get more done independently. You know, I think back to corporate where we were all forced to work in the same room, and sometimes it felt like this. You could smell someone's tuna fish sandwich. You could hear someone talking to their mother. You could hear a meeting over there that was distracting you because there was no more separations or offices. It was a mess. I'm not a big fan of open environments. I think I don't need to know everything. I don't need to hear you crunching your Cheetos over there. I can't concentrate. So there might just be too much distraction going on around you as well. All right, so that is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Let's move on to Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Well, we got another 5, and I highlighted this. So this is about someone who's not ready to hear you. So this is in the upright position, so it could present more of an obvious situation where it's like, oh, okay. It was yesterday, right? Not today's, but yesterday's. I do them a day in advance, so I'm trying to remember. But we had like 5 of Swords in the world. So maybe some of that is still with, or Wheel of Fortune. So this is usually hiding or eclipsing something else that's important to us. So with the 5 of Swords, I really get in this particular situation that the person isn't ready. They aren't ready to listen. They have their own dialogue or narrative in their head, and it drowns out the intelligence of other people's sort of ideas. Sometimes it can be more nefarious where someone just likes to get a rise out of you. When I was a little kid, there was a great uncle that would just always come and mess up my hair. If you have curly hair, you know you don't want that, because then you look insane after someone does that. And then he would poke me and he would tease me. And I was like, I told my mom, I hate him. He's not a nice person. I didn't hate him, but I didn't really enjoy his presence because he liked to laugh at people's pain. That's what it was. Yeah. And there are people that like to tease or make a comment at someone else's expense. That's not humor, that's cruelty. So there may be someone in your life that's just cruel, or is just indifferent, or is just unable to listen or empathize with you. Whoever that might be, and the 5 of Swords takes many faces. Just walk away. Don't even comment. They want you to comment. The best way to react is not to react, because they will focus on someone else. So if there's anyone in your life that is sarcastic, is it likes to tease you, is cruel, doesn't listen, doesn't take accountability. Unless you are contracted to have them in your space, bye-bye. And then this can be the inner saboteur. I think we've all had this from time to time. The inner voice that represents the moon card that we saw this week, which can sometimes be fear. What if it goes wrong? What if I can't do it? What if I'm not good enough? Or simply in a more affirmative tone, you're going to fail. So there are times where the voice can help us plan. So if it says, how can I prepare myself for a worst case scenario? I try to then have a conversation with it. All right, I hear you. Well, let me just have I'll have a plan B and a plan C. And now I'm going to go forward prepared. So just get prepared and use the fearful thought to kind of find your contingency plan and get it in place. And yeah, I see someone talking about boundaries. I think that's super important. It's interesting, when you are a child, and especially when I was a child and things were not as progressive. I'm not that old, but just even in the 80s and 90s, you did not have as many, people didn't care as much about the children as they do now. So you would sometimes, your parents would say, go give that person a hug. Nowadays, we don't force children to do that, which is good. And if there was someone in your family that was treating you poorly, you just said, that's your family. Now you do not have to do that. We empower our kids to speak up. But I remember my parents were told children were to be seen and not heard. So sometimes we have to go and extract that old programming. You do have a right to say no. You can put a boundary in place and you can walk away. In fact, that's what some of the people in the background are doing. And he's wondering, why doesn't anyone want to be around me? Hold up a mirror. All right, so you know what the triggers could be this week, and you know how to avoid them. And you want to avoid the inner saboteur as well, okay? It's the inner bully. That's a fancy word for that. All right, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Thank goodness we're entering into Libra season here very soon. So I'm happy to see the star coming forth. We have the capacity right now for all air signs to finally kind of get into a moment of authenticity. And with the star, if I can hold the card, she's saying, shine. Absolutely in this moment, shine. And we have this beautiful iridescent deck here that is doing just that. What's holding you back from accomplishing the goal, the dream, the aspiration, etc.? Because it feels very, very good this week to step into something. I also feel like some of you might get an 11th hour bit of good news where you were holding out for something, and about the moment that you let it go, something shines through. The star is about being authentic and aligned. Think about that, authentic. I know who I am, aligned. I know what I want to do. I'm bringing the two together. And that's going to make me more successful, more happy, more capable of doing all the things that I came to this planet to do. She's also, as you know, the hermit holds the lantern, which has the star. She's still holding that star. She's using it kind of as a mirror and as a beam. So you can use your light. Use your light, your position, your platform, your influence, your energy to move things. Mover and shaker week. That's what this is. You're all movers and shakers, Geminis, Libras, and Aquariuses. This is your week to have that energy move forth. This is also symbolic of the Aquarius sign. So this is beautiful for the air signs. It's also saying, when you think of the stars, they're in the firmament, they're in the sky. They're looking at things from the highest possible angle. Whatever your challenge might be, go to the stars and look down. Reach for the stars, reach past the limit, because there's something beyond the limit. The limit is, it could be here, it could be here, it could be here, as we had the Two of Swords this week. We want to go beyond the perceived limits and know that blockages, people saying no, things of that nature, it's also so that you look in other directions and dimensions for it to happen. I think it's a great week for the air signs. Congrats. All right. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You also have a great card. We have the Two of Wands. This is about being able to dream and do. So this card empowers High Priestess and Magician energy. I like that he's also in this sort of like turret, I guess, of a castle. But let me look at the traditional Two of Wands because I think it tells a better story. Basically, it's saying that to be effective, you have to be clear. And to really make some progress on your dreams, you have to take a moment to do an internal audit and do a GPS check. So it's kind of like back in the days, the olden days, when we used to have a map. You'd have to sometimes stop at a gas station, get some gas, and then look at the map and say, how far are we? Is there a better route, etc. Nowadays, we just have the GPS, but here we go. So the person is holding the globe between the two wands, looking at the distance, but also looking at where he's at. Here's where I am. There's where I want to go. Now we could just imagine that being the phone. He's looking at his phone and looking at the Maps app, whatever he's using, and saying, is there a better way? But also dream. We forget to dream when we're adults. We're asked as children, what do you want to do when you grow up? I would say, what do you want to do next? And we never stop growing up. Wouldn't it be nicer if we just didn't say that we're growing old, but we're just continuing to grow up? We're just continuing to grow. We should change it for children. It's not like you hit 18 or you hit 25 or you hit 30 and you're a grown-up. You never stop. Sorry for the younger ones that might be watching in college. It never stops. The lessons never cease, and it gets easier because you've had more life experience, but there's still some things that are always going to be a challenge. So let's reframe it for children and for our adult selves to what do you need to grow? What do you want to do in life to feel like you're growing? And you don't stop growing. You don't grow up and then what? Stagnate? That sucks. Let's not do that. What do you need to continue to grow? So if you're feeling like you're stagnating, or if you feel sad, like I wish I had the optimism of a child, bring it back. Bring the inner child back. Forget about the parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents that gave you the illusion that you would get one job and retire. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's almost virtually impossible for that, because that would be seen as stagnation. So what do you need next to grow? This is a week to brainstorm, to plan, to inquire within, and to get a different perspective. And he's old in this picture, older. So he's still growing. He's growing emotionally, intellectually, psychically. So growth never stops. It's an illusion to think that it does. End rant. But it is crazy that we put so much pressure on young children when they're like 12, 15, 17. What do you want to do for the entirety of your life? Now go spend way too much money in school and be stuck in that career path, right? We need to have a much more fluid version of education, purpose, and life in general. We talk about things like that, as well as the next portion, which is going to be the special topic. So this is for everybody. We're going to look at what needs to come through, full stop. So the way that I'm going to view this is as all-inclusive as possible, and we're not worrying so much about a particular topic. Whatever comes through in the Celtic Cross that I want to pause and talk about based on intuition and also just what's coming through, I will do just that. If you enjoy this, by the way, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment when it goes on replay. It makes me happy, and it's 100% free. You can also give me a follow on socials later, not now. And feel free to become a member. Welcome to the folks that got a gifted membership. I did something special this week. If you like it, let me know. It was a 4.5-hour marathon. We're not going to do it that long in the future because I was tired. But I might start something that's like the equivalent of office hours, where maybe twice a month or maybe weekly, I do a shorter version of that. And I'll organize it better where people can ask questions in advance. And I'm not like surfing through all of it. And then maybe I'll take a limited amount, like the first 10 or something that come through. And we can look at some other questions. But it was a nice way for us to interact. More things like that for members. Plus, you guys gave me some topical ideas, which I'll follow up on. And I'll do my best to share it with everyone. But I did want to say thanks to frequent contributors. It means a lot. All right. All right, let's get started. I'm going to choose a different deck while I'm getting ready here. I think we want to use use this one. Close your eyes, please. If you just joined, welcome. You perfect timing. We're going to take a look at whatever the heck needs to come through in this moment. Imagine that you are in a field of beautiful clover. You can smell the blossoms. You can hear some bees. You can see the butterflies. There's this sweetness around you that you don't always connect with in everyday life. Feel that energy of support. Create a circle around you. Feel the sun beam into that circle and know that you are now connected to angels, spirit guides, ascended masters. We welcome in the archangels too, Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael, Metatron, Zerachiel, to help us see what we need to see. Okay, that was a lot. We'll let him come through. All right. And I just wanted to reiterate, everybody's welcome. That's why I actually made the that members special for everybody. I'm trying to open things up because finances are hard now. Times are hard, and I get that. So I try to be here. Just showing up is enough. So just show up. Don't worry about it. Whatever needs to come through will come through. I saw some comments there. Okay. Speaking of which, the catalyst for this week is adversity. I accept that challenges are my best way to learn. They're not always the easiest, but they can teach a lot. I challenge the author of this to not say the best way. They are one way to learn. And I would add an asterisk on this and say, I understand that challenges are a way to learn, but I'm ready to find a better way than this. So I don't accept this. Sometimes we have to challenge what's on the card. So I accept that I called in this lesson and I'm learning from it, but I'm ready to stop this because it isn't the best way to learn. That's not my truth. That's someone else's truth. So I'm ready to move beyond adversity. Sometimes you have to challenge the card. That's just one person's opinion, especially when I'm looking at an oracle card. If it's the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, fine. It is what it is. But if that's something that they actually invited adversity by that. I'm like, no, that doesn't ring true to me. Does it ring true to you? It doesn't. Challenges are a way to learn. They're not the best way. Not in my book, okay? So I don't always take things at face value, nor should you. We got to think critically. It's something that's been lost lately, is that you've got to go to the source. Remember the moon in that other deck? We can't believe everything the first time we see it or hear it. This is my journalistic training coming into, and my English minor and all that other stuff that I did. I'm always like, well, let me look it up. I actually stopped using I canceled my ChatGPT thing because it was constantly giving me fake information. I'm like, check that again. Check it 2 or 3 times. Check this source. They're like, oh, you're right. I'm like, why did you say that? I don't know. I'm like, why am I listening to you? So because it's a large language model, it's not intelligent. So it's actually sampling a lot of information that may be inaccurate, and you have to ask it the right question in the right way. So sometimes we have people in life that regurgitate the same thing. It's like if the sample of information is wrong and that's what you're using, you have to go beyond the sample. So already we see that you can avoid an argument this week by getting the information right. And someone may speak with confidence. ChatGPT will tell you the wrong thing with so much confidence. And I'm like, then I find myself arguing with it. I'm like, you're a fool. Why am I talking to you? Because you're wasting my time. I'm just going to look it up on my own. So yeah, I canceled that. I was like, you're not actually helping me out at all. At the center of the card, we have the devil. The devil is a card of control. The devil is a card of also like someone or something in your life that can't give you what you need. Know who you're working with, know what their limits are, and know that it isn't your job in this moment in time to change that person unless they're ready to change. If they come to you and say, I've hit rock bottom, I need help, can you help me? Okay, now they're past that. Now they're in their judgment phase. They want to rise up. Otherwise, they're still in the devil phase and they're still incapable of being where they need you at that moment. Where you need them at that moment. There might just be someone that's attached as well to something. Sorry, I have to block it out, otherwise YouTube gets crazy. But it's afraid of seeing bodies, which is insane because tarot cards are just art. But I don't want this to have any issues, so I put these little stickies on it. All right, anyway, the devil. If you don't want to deal with something, you often have to. So it's basically the procrastinous tendencies that we all have from time to time coming through. So don't procrastinate. Don't turn a blind eye to something that's going on that shouldn't be happening. And don't try to change someone who isn't ready. And if you have your own sort of addiction or fear or whatever coming through, this is the time to really deal with that. Okay? Crossing that card, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So that is a block to this, and there might be something better coming into your life to help you get out of that. Some of you are ready to change your job, your living situation, etc. What we see with the Wheel of Fortune here is highs and lows. So if you're in a low right now, you won't be in the low forever. The Wheel of Fortune keeps spinning. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning, like the Journey song. But the wheel keeps on spinning, or like Big Wheel Keeps on Turning. There's a bunch of songs about it, Creedence Clearwater. Like there's so many songs about movement and wheels. So know this, you're in something. You're going through a moment. And some of you are going through a difficult moment. You feel trapped. You feel betrayed. You upset. And you may feel like your head is below water, but what we see here is that it's about to move in a new direction. There's an angel on the other side of the mermaid. Ask for help if you need it. Reach out. Don't say no if there's something that can pull you in a better direction. And we talked about the devil, the Four of Pentacles. So for those of you in the Four of Pentacles moment, the devil is nonetheless a devil. And just because you can somewhat anticipate how it will disappoint you, why settle for that? Move beyond the limit. The limit could just be an unnecessary one, okay? Now in the deep past, we have the Ace of Swords in the reverse position. This can represent, I think it's connected to the devil energy, overly critical thoughts, perfectionist tendencies. I think of the pen on the paper constantly crossing out, writing again, crossing out. That's what I'm seeing in my mind's eye as I look at this. Go back to the first draft and stop editing yourself so much. And then just in life in general, there can be a paralysis with perfection. So perfectionist paralysis. I like it. There is no such thing as perfect, or it's overrated. It's one of the reasons I like live streams more than recorded stuff, because it's done. And I'm like, I did the best I could, and I don't have to look at it and beat myself up again. It's done, and I know that that's what needed to come through. So I enjoy live streaming for that reason, because it's more like having a conversation. We don't in an everyday conversation, try to be perfect in an exchange. We just try to be real. Speaking of like auto-tune, AI, and things of that nature, that's also why I don't necessarily connect so much with music from the past 20 years or so, because it's been computerized. And I enjoy like synthesized music, but I don't like it when the voice is auto-tuned or whatever, melodined or whatever the different things that they use, to the point that it sounds robotic and tinny. Like, where's the grit? Where's the actual voice? So use your real voice, be real. First draft is good enough in some situations, and we don't want to get paralyzed by perfection. That's what came through with the Ace of Swords in reverse. Take action, basically. And if you need to edit or change something in a contract, by all means, you can do that, okay? All right, in the recent past, you may be dealing with someone who is stubborn, bossy, or one-track mind is what I'm being shown. We love the Queen of Wands, but sometimes she is so protective or fierce in one way of doing something that she misses the forest for the trees. So if there's someone around you like that, make sure that you push back on that and trust in your own vision too. There's a time and a place for you to be stubborn, and if it feels right, that's fine, but the caveat that I just mentioned is definitely important to think about. You might be hesitating in stepping into a role of power, or I didn't want to say authenticity, but authority is what was wanted to come through, but authentic authority, let's put it that way. You've got what it takes to be a good leader. Don't be afraid. As we saw with the Five of Wands, for those of you that got that, someone has to be the voice of reason sometimes, and it might be you this week, okay? All right, so in the crowning position, we have tea leaves. I make a joke with like friends and family. Just because I read cards doesn't mean that I want to have to like pull out a deck of cards to know what you're thinking. If I'm in a conversation with someone, it's like I shouldn't have to work that hard to just. We should be able to talk to one another. You know that you're in trouble in your relationship if you have to constantly go to the tarot deck and think, why is this happening? No, you should just have a conversation, just feel it out. And so if something isn't clear, and that is what this can represent, get the clarity you need. Because if it feels like long division when you're talking to someone, that's probably indicative of something bigger. So the Seven of Cups is usually someone looking at the possibilities. So this week, what you can do is ask yourself, what's next? Why not this? How about that? Exploring all the different things that are in front of you. But I'd love for you to also put a limit on how long you sit in that space, because it can begin to get overwhelming. Because I'll find it here in a moment. Here it is. If you're just looking at all of the options, there comes a point where it's like Netflix, and there's all of these choices. And if you're at a restaurant and there's a menu, have you ever just stared at the menu but you're not reading it, or just looked at the icons but they're not computing? Too many choices, too many that are just not like jumping out at you, or too many that are, and so we need to limit it. That's why in a survey you'll normally see 3 or 4 options. When it gets up to 5, 6, 7, indecision sets in. It's not as clear to group them. The mind can't do as well with the larger groups. So limit the time that you spend in brainstorming. And then this is also a curiosity card. Ask a question. You might see patterns in things too, and use the patterns to help you arrange things in a better fashion as well. Okay? All right, let me take a drink, and then we're going to talk about this. To save some money, I recently just canceled all my streaming services for a bit, and I have to say I'm not missing them, but sometimes there was that moment of like looking at all of this, and then you waste time, and for a moment or two, for a month or two, I'm like, I just need to not have that going on with me. So here we have the Two of Cups in the near future. For many of you, there is an option to team up or to partner with someone, and this could bring you greater clarity, greater sense of community, new options that are that wouldn't otherwise present themselves. So if you are kind of in a hermit phase. It's time to get out of the hermit phase. It's a great time to mix and mingle. I love that we have the lotus. I was talking about another thistle-like flower that moves through difficult situations. So for those of you that have been through adversity before, it feels like the next friendship or relationship is in a better place. The power of 2 again, delegation, teamwork, partnership, definitely coming through as something that you should embrace or explore this week if you'd like, okay? And yeah, some of my cancellation was due to some of the crazy things going on. I'm like, I don't think I'm behind these companies right now. I don't want to give any of them any of my money. So I'm just canceling until things get sorted out because they're doing silly things right now. So I made some protest cancellations too. It feels good. It feels good to take your power back. One thing that we can do is vote with how we spend our time, energy, and money, right? So you can always decide. I mean, it's a good life lesson too. If someone is constantly arguing or doing something silly, you just don't pick up the phone when they call. You don't answer the door. So we can cut off channels, and sometimes we spend money, but sometimes we're spending time and energy. And in the case of a company that's doing things that you don't agree with, don't spend time, energy, or money with them. Spend it somewhere else. Spend it on yourself and see what else comes through. Okay. We have the King of Wands in the reverse position. This is you right now. It's good to be headstrong. Some of you are possibly in a relationship or some sort of King of Wands, Queen of Wands. It can be like a divine partnership. It can also be a karmic relationship. The problem here, because they both came through reverse, is they both think that they're right all the time. And you can't be right all the time. I don't know anybody that is all the time. Like we were even looking with this, I was like, I like most of the cards in this deck. I don't like this card. So there's to admit that we learn, that we make mistakes is a good thing. I'm learning from my mistakes, but I don't want to keep repeating them. But anyway, to be smart enough to know when you need to ask for help, when you need to admit that you might not know something, because good leaders do that. They don't fake it. So here's how we can elevate the King of Wands. Someone comes to him or her because they think that they can handle something, but the King of Wands doesn't know what to do. So what they would say is, what an excellent question. I don't think we've dealt with this before. I would love to take some time to explore the options. Do you have time tomorrow again to talk? Would you like to work with me to solve this together? You've engaged them, you've appreciated the question, and you've admitted that there needs to be more time to explore. And if they press you to move too quickly, you would say, I think we might lose time if we make a misstep. We can't afford to not know what we're doing. So let's take that extra day. It will save us months, actually. That's how you sell it to someone. I wish I had that wherewithal sometimes back when I was in corporate. But that's how you would sell it to someone who's pushing. You just say, this deadline is arbitrary. Where did it come from? Why are we doing it? How much will it cost us if we make this mistake? And if they don't know, just say, I think you need to figure that out before we try to do this. Come back to me when you've done that. And if they still push you, say, fine, but I want to go on record saying, this is probably a big mistake. It could be a big mistake if we make a misstep. That's how the King of Wands can get into the power position. Even when you don't know, sometimes you know what you shouldn't do, and you know that you can learn it. I know I can figure this out, but I need some time. Okay, great. Buy the time. Don't say you know something if you don't, because then you're getting into Seven of Swords territory, and we don't want that. And the devil at the center, that is kind of what we're talking about here. There's this feeling of being right. For some of you, maybe you're being pushed, and what we have to do is push back. Okay, so now we're looking at what's going on around you. Heavy emotions. King of Cups, strategic King of Cups, because he's on a chessboard here. And so it is, again, this slight maneuvering, persuasiveness, easier for you to say, persuasiveness, and maybe it is just manipulation of emotions. And we want to make sure that we're not manipulated. And the way that we can do that is take a step back. And also, if there's someone around you that's using you as their recycling bin, because when this is in the environment, that's happening. And when this is reversed, that's happening. There comes a point where you can just say, you can use deadlines as an excuse. Let's say you're just at the store or outside and a neighbor or a stranger's talking to you. You can just say, it's been so nice talking, but actually I need to go right now. I have an appointment in 5 minutes and I'm running late. Make up something. Create a limit so that you, and also just say, I'd really like to give you my full attention. I can't do that right now. Why don't we talk tomorrow? I have to finish this, and I don't want to do you the discredit of this. And I'm getting stressed out because I need to get this done. Just tell them. They're more than happy to dump it on you, right? Dump it right back. Push it right back. Because they need to find a better outlet, and you can't be the therapist or the garbage person or the housekeeper for them, for their own sort of emotional rubbish. There's also hypersensitivity going on. There could be someone around you that is just really taking it personally, unnecessarily so, possibly because something else is going on. So be mindful of that. How fascinating is it that we got the King and Queen of Wands and then the King and Queen of Cups? You may also find yourself caught in the middle, and the devil's caught in the middle of these two factions. So for some of you, there's this feeling of, how did I get into this? Two groups of friends fighting, in-laws fighting, people that you love and care about, but you can't fix it. You gotta focus on yourself. What I love about the Queen of Cups in the area of possibilities, hopes, fears, and possibilities, is she's just allowing things to flow. Whatever will be, so be it. That's really the bumper sticker here for this week, so be it. If I can help direct the flow of that, great, but I can't change what you're willing to receive. I can't change you, and I can't force you to do something, and I can't force multiple people to do something. Once you allow and free your resources to be your own, things start to flow more fluidly. And I do believe that you can get to a place where you're feeling happier, clearer, cleaner, more receptive. And that is the goal this week, is to get into this, the fluidity that we see with this Queen of Cups. And also to open yourself up to receiving even more than you thought. She's in the middle of a waterfall or a rapids. She's just sitting there, and it's all happening with her, around her, through her. She's a channel. So there's a lot that can get done this week when you're not distracted by the myriad of things that we see here, your own limitations or others. This sort of grouping of people around you that may be confused. The perfectionist paralysis that we kind of coined the term for. I do think that partnership could be very good. If there are groups of people fading away, or if there are energies and environments that you need to separate from, there are better things that await. And these three all go together. So this is love, Queen of Cups, Two of Cups, Six of Cups. And we have like a better partnership here than maybe here. We still have someone that needs a little bit more, but just open yourself up to receive more than you think you can receive, and you might be surprised. You deserve a seat at the table. The Six of Cups is a moment for you to get your flowers and recognition. It's also a chance to have some fun. I love that they have children on this because it is the inner child coming out to play. I want to think that that's like the other two. Usually there's two children, and then there's a bunch of imaginary people at the table. But let me pull the traditional card for a second. If it's been a moment since you've had some fun, please do something this week, maybe with someone that you care about. Maybe it's on your own. I don't care. Just a place where you feel like your inner child is coming out to play. Also, not taking yourself too seriously. And then when you do something that you love, you might also meet up with a kindred spirit. Being young at heart is really what this is about. Imagination, which is, as we talked about, what the Seven of Cups is really about. So imagining a different outcome, imagining something greater than what you're currently experiencing. And I talked to a friend yesterday, and he was reminding me of the importance of, like, if you're manifesting, feel that you're already in the energy of the manifestation and feel like it's good news that you can't wait to share with someone. Feel the sense of elation and relief and just solidity that it's there. Once you feel it that close, that clear, channels open up, and it happens faster. and it gets you past some of the fears. Can I? Will I? Should I? Okay? All right. I really do like it sometimes when we just do whatever needs to come through, because we don't have to shoehorn it in anything. It's whatever needs to come through. All right, let's expand this a little bit. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny and see what spirit has to say. All right, so we're going to start off first with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And let's talk about it. So your health card is Rido. I forget. I have to look at the pronunciation on this, but movement, journey, and impetus. So we have the chariot basically on this card, if you will, but there's no chariot driver. Who's steering the ship? Especially when it comes to your health, who's steering the ship? You are. Little choices matter. What's your sleep schedule like? How much fast food are you eating? How much stress are you giving to work and relationships? The choices, the daily choices add up, and you are the one steering the ship. So there's a little bit of a reality check from the universe to steer wisely. And then also just to get moving. It's about the journey, not the destination. Truly it is. I think that is something I've learned time and again. The destination is almost invariably anticlimactic, but the journey to get there is super rewarding. Because you've proven to yourself in the journey, the thistle energy, I can persevere, I can blossom, I can grow and go where others can't. Definitely the journey is the more important part. The destination is a cherry on top, but it's short-lived sometimes. So enjoy the journey. Stop focusing so much on if you have or haven't gotten to a milestone. We're looking more holistically here, but it's an emotional thing that will help you. And when you have a new journey to embark upon, see it as exciting. Where will it lead? How will I go through this? And then when you get there, take a deep breath. All right, I just did that. What's next? The roller coaster doesn't stop until it truly stops, and we're not ready for it to stop just yet. All right, let's look at some other things here with respect to your general health and well-being. Okay, let's see what's going on. Some of you already know what you need to step away from. The devil at the center can be just something that isn't. It's a selfish endeavor, so it's not giving what you're giving. So, like, if you've ever known someone that's an addict, particularly like, let's say like a functional alcoholic, they're not even drinking for a high. They're just drinking to exist, right? If you've ever had caffeine addiction, there comes a point where you're just drinking because you're tired, and then you get jittery, but it's not helping. So if you haven't slept enough and you keep pushing yourself, you keep trying to finish something, but it takes longer and you're more tired because, what is it? It's diminishing returns. There's something in your life that's diminishing. Each time you do it, it gives you less. So the diminishing return is saying, let it go, okay? And it will help you move on to something better. It can be anything: work, sex, drugs, thinking. You can do anything in excess. So whatever your vice is right now, take a step back. It's diminishing in its returns. The paralysis of perfection, which is more of a mental thing, we want to step back from that as well. The other thing here is concentration. I think the concentration is lacking because of these other things. Also, the illusion that there's a single and best path. That is why dictatorships fail. That is why when one person says it's my way, this way, only way, like, no, that's not how it works. Eventually, you'll make a mistake when it's just you, just one path. So you've got to open yourself up to alternatives and, again, stronger together. Get a second opinion. This is true even of a doctor. Like, so if your doctor is authoritative and it's like, this is the only way, and they won't let you get a second opinion, in your health, it's super important, right? So get a second opinion and open yourself up to the alternatives and ask questions. And if you're ever in a situation where someone tells you to not ask a question, that's a red flag, okay? One of the things that's coming through is both the importance and the frustration involved with relationships. And I'm looking at it broadly. You're in the middle of a lot. So there may be people around you that are stubborn or dealing with challenges or dumping things on you or very controlling. It's important this week to rise up and to figure out like this. We really want to use the Queen of Cups as our mental image. How can I just go with the flow? How can I not let this get the best of me? And I do think making time for friends and fun, very, very important. Okay, overall, manageable. It's about the diminishing returns when we're looking at health, so be mindful of that. Let's move on to wealth, your resources, your life purpose, and your career. All right, in the energy of wealth, you got a lot. I think actually, so for this week, since I got 3 cards, to make sure that we can get through this, I'm just going to read broadly for everyone, and we're going to look at it as energy. I'm just about to do the next grouping of November and December readings. So you can always go to your September, October readings for a deeper dive in wealth. This weekly forecast, I'm not going to get through it if I have to do this plus 5 more. So we're going to broadly look at how you can break through and open up more energy, time, and money for everybody, okay? So this is a universal read. It's about a calculated risk. This is how you deal with the devil you know. So you could be limiting your potential in opening up new opportunities in front of you by saying, I'm afraid. What if it doesn't work? I don't think you should take any risk. I think you should take a calculated risk. When you've said, well, wait, I have the experience. I want it. I've succeeded at this, this, and this. I think it's worth a shot. Looks like he's going into an oyster here. So maybe there's a pearl in this situation. It's a little bit of work, but you're going to be all right, right? So calculated risk, calculated leap of faith. The next card is about protection. So for those of you that are launching, developing, or creating, this is intellectual property. So make sure that whatever it is that you have that is unique to you, that intellectual property has been protected and taken care of. Also, if there's something that you're starting to put time and energy into, I think it's important to give it enough time to fully be birthed, to fully emerge. And guess what? You have luck on your side. The luck card is reversed. So one thing that to keep in mind here is the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you say something like, I am unlucky with X, Y, or Z, then you will be, because you said it. So what you could say is, I feel lucky. I feel like I have a chance. I'm ready for this opportunity. You have a much better chance of making it happen. Don't speak it out of existence. Entertain the possibility. Take a calculated leap of faith. Not any risk, but one that feels right, one that feels realistic. Sure, it may not work, but it might. And you might also get further than you think, and that might be something that opens up another path. Okay? Let's look at general trends this week for everyone. No matter where you sit in life, whether you're working, whether you're a student, whether you're employed or unemployed, the challenge here is not to give in to conflict. Conflicting emotions within and conflict around you. For many of you, irrespective of where you're at in your wealth track, other people are trying to project or imprint or guide you with their own lens. They're putting all their lenses on top of you because it's a noisy room here, right? Look at how many court cards we have. We have 4, and then we have 2 more, 6 now that have people in them. Even the devil is a person in this one. So there's too many people in this spread. And I think one of the challenges this week is sometimes more is less. And I feel like it's a deciding by committee, whether it's where to go to school, when to do a deadline, where to buy a house. Like, there's too many options. There's too many people trying to weigh in. And when it's decision by committee, the committee usually does poorly. And again, having been in large corporations before, I know that you can meet something to death. I worked at a place where we had meetings about meetings and then follow-ups about the meetings. And then we literally did something called a post-mortem, which was like when it was done, we would talk about what went well and didn't. I'm like, how many times are we going to meet? I got work to do. So you can meet or have like this committee to the point of demise. So don't, sometimes less is more. And I feel like getting away from all of that distraction this week is going to be super advantageous for the masses, okay? Let's see what else we need to look at. No matter what it has to do with your finances, don't do something if it doesn't feel right. Even if someone else says it's going to be okay, you know best. And you know at the bottom in your heart, I should or I shouldn't. Let that be your compass. And if you are uncertain, find another path, because that uncertainty tells you that you're not quite ready yet. Or give yourself time. We talked about buying time. Don't agree until you are clearer. You're not going to ever know everything, but know enough to feel like it's a calculated risk, not a risk that is just risky for the sake of risk, right? It could be very good when we're looking at general success in life and in resources. Again, just casting a broad net so everybody can be a part of this. Community is key. So I don't want the committee so much, but I think that if you're trying to get something done, talk to your friends, talk to your coworkers, see if together you can't work together to make it happen. Let the bosses churn and do what they need to, and then by the time they come back, you'll be like, we're already done. What do we need to do next? We fixed it. We figured it out. So I actually feel like that could be very good. And for some of you, there is this entrepreneurial energy, all the boss energy coming through collectively. We could just pull it up and say, maybe it's better if you do it on your own. So finding a place where your opinion is appreciated, where you can make a big splash, where you don't have to deal with these gatekeepers that don't necessarily know what they're doing, that is key. We're going to move above adversity this week. Partnership and getting away from decision by committee. That's the big takeaway. Because we had so many cards, I just wanted to give us larger sort of like directional messages. There are times where I'll go deeper and maybe I'll do like a bonus reading just on money this week or something. I've been having fun, or next month. I'm doing more independent ones, and I'm now very much liking a 2-month cadence because I can do a slew of other videos for you that I have fun doing, and I think you like as well. So let's embrace this for a bit. Plus I have to move real soon. So it's important to kind of have this fluidity, and it lets us do these specialty readings too. All right, let's move on. I feel like we've looked enough in wealth. Let's take a look at love. Let's go a little deeper in love because we have a lot of it this week, and see what's coming forth. All right, for love, I like this. Manifesting is my superpower, but for some reason I don't believe in myself. It's a high priestess reversed or a magician reversed. The reasons you may not believe in yourself is you're distracted, or all these other voices around you, all these other people around you are saying things that kind of gaslight your ability to manifest. So Spirit came through and said, you've got this, right? You've got this. Now let's break this down into the traditional categories. If you're in a relationship, boy, oh boy, there's a lot going on. This card speaks, a lot to what you're dealing with here. Volumes is the word I was looking for. Adversity. As I said earlier, I completely challenge, and I stand by my challenge that I accept the challenges are the best way to learn. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're one way to learn, but we don't have to be in a situation where someone always needs to argue. That is the definition of the Five of Swords. Let's not do that. We don't need argumentative. We're going to try to elevate conversations this week. So there's a lot to look at here, but the center card for those in a relationship is control. The devil is control, and the devil can be denial, and it can also be this a lack of honesty or integrity. So what we want to do this week in existing partnerships is to lead with honesty, to talk about fears, to highlight things that were maybe a perceived failure and try to work together to solve it. You could say, I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm alone. I'm afraid to look at this. Pull the devil up and say, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. Can we work on it together? Yes, you can. This Wheel of Fortune actually has partnership on it, right? We have the angel and we have the mermaid. They're working together. They're making it work. The devil is just the illusion that you're stuck here this week. Now, some challenges. Your partner shouldn't have to read tea leaves to understand you, nor should you. So ask a question if you're unclear. Don't make an assumption, because the assumption invites the devil back in. Just say, did you mean this? Or what do you mean? Don't even put your just say, what does that mean? Or help me understand that. I'm not clear. If your partner gets angry, say, you shouldn't be angry, that I want to understand. So we're pushing back on any potential adversity or conflict because it isn't the best way, contrary to this illusion of a card. Okay, other things. If I was just pulling this up, I would put like red text with an asterisk saying, no, it isn't, as my graphic. So no, it isn't. We're not going to argue. I'm not going to take the bait this week. You could be in the middle of larger familial groups. We see it here. There might be a gathering. There could be a wedding. There could be something happening this week. But I see two couples or two groups and you in the middle. Don't allow yourself to be stuck in the middle. As we talked about earlier, unconditional love means that you shouldn't have to choose. That's what I'm seeing here as well. So if your partner's making you choose between them and someone else in their family, you're the core partnership. So have that discussion. I think once you get past these things, you're okay. If it's a newer relationship, like partnership can be you're serious or you're exclusive, but maybe you're not married. There could be something right now where like an old friend or a family member or an old flame comes through, and you have to figure out what boundaries look like with them. They may be too friendly with that ex, and that's making you uncomfortable. Talk about that. It's good to have a good relationship, but they shouldn't be texting them at all hours and hanging out every day and stuff like that. That's like, are you with me or not? Because I call it into question when the devil's in the center. So we don't want jealousy here, but we also aren't going to ignore something that's crazy. Two sides to every coin here. So you know what you know if you know. All right. I think we're pretty much good on this. What I do like about the two outcome cards here is the Two of Cups and Six of Cups show partnership, fun, joy. I do think you can work through it this week. Just keep it real, okay? Moving on to single and looking. Can you find love? Possibly too much. Yes. What do you want? What are you looking for? Because I said this is a crowded room. It's a super crowded room with all of these cards, okay? So I think having clarity on, are you ready? Who are you looking for? And making sure that you don't juggle too many people that you're dating at once. It'll get messy. So if you're single and looking, limit your scope. Don't have 3 different people that you're in like one day or so. It's going to catch up. You're going to look bad. You're going to forget someone's name. It's not going to be good. For everyone else, I see a lot of options, and I think you can be discerning. And you don't have to settle. If there's someone that is attached, particularly someone from the past, possibly this fire sign, let them be in the past. I see the potential for love and friendship really nicely connected around water. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces this week, that feels like it's where the energy is. Whether you're one of those signs or you're starting to meet one of those signs, that's where I really start to see a lot of movement. And the best way to meet someone is by hanging out with your friends. Maybe there's going to be a setup. Maybe you meet a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend of a friend. That's where I see the movement happening for you, okay? Leave this fire sign in the past, though, and keep an open mind for yourself. And there could be a Capricorn coming through. Sometimes we forget the devil's a Capricorn. With the Capricorn, what I see is someone that is very focused on work. It does feel like they're ready to date, but I see a very career-oriented Capricorn here, okay? For those of you that are single and happy, it looks a lot less messy. That's good. Here's what you need to be focusing on this week. Letting go of feelings of inadequacy or feelings of being less. The devil is this illusion that something can't happen for you. Ostensibly the Wheel of Fortune. I do want to talk, we'll talk a little bit more about this. Like there's one more career note or general note about the devil, but I'll save that for a second. But other things that I see here is that getting clear on what's next in your life is important. It's a great week to what if and to plan, but eventually to land on something by the end of the week so that you can really see some traction and movement. Even if you're not looking for love, your ability to network, make new friends, and still possibly meet someone is very, very strong. People are at the core of this week. It's who you know that could open up a door, not necessarily just what you know, okay? And let me see if there's anything else. Okay, I think that's it. Now just taking it off of relationships. There's something else that came through with this, and it's just like a little epiphany that I got. And it could affect work, but it can also just affect personal development. We'll go to destiny in a second. this is the feeling that I can't do this, I can't get through this, or I don't deserve what's, something positive, particularly when it comes to money or opportunity in my life. Yes, you can. And you will. But some of you have to kind of get through this moment where you have to catch your breath. For many of you, it's a difficult moment, and I see that. And we'll probably pull a card on that in a moment or two. But let's look at the Destiny card first. So, nicely connected with that, we have the Mountain. And it's so hard to see, even with my glasses. But okay, right up there. I feel like that's where the person is, that little tiny speck. And so if we zoom out, you can't even see where you are, right? If you ever see those maps, you are here. Well, you're that little tiny speck on the hill. Barely visible. Hardly visible is what I meant to say. So I feel like it's important to both get the macro and micro view, like zoom out and zoom in. So it's nice to see how far you've come, but don't lose track of exactly where you are in the journey as well. The Two of Wands energy that we talked about. I associate this with Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is often traveling up a hill in some decks, but feels like the sense of being burdened. So if you do, I'm going to choose this deck here and I'll find it. But what can you do this week to delegate, to release some of the stress that you might be holding on to, and to celebrate? So delegate and celebrate, because typically if you've ever climbed a mountain or hiked a hill, you know what I'm talking about. There's a point where you're ready to give up, and all of a sudden you think, oh, I've got less to go than where I've come, and it's going to be downhill once I'm done. Well, let's just finish what I've started. So I feel like there's that realization. Well, this one isn't as burdened, but it is about how you're carrying the load, right? How much weight am I giving these thoughts? Am I making it tougher than it needs to be? And if you are, recalibrate. I think there's an opportunity there. Okay, like I said, I'm going to do a separate reading after lunch today. I might do just a post since I did a live stream, but we'll see. If I feel like a mini live, it'll be short. Usually my eclipse and lunar readings are like 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll just try to do a one draft version of that so we all have that today. But because we're all here now, and some of you may be busy later, I'm going to pull a single card for the partial eclipse and also the new moon. Okay, so the eclipse is revealing that we are going to be better than we think when it comes to finances. It could be obscuring our own view of that, but as I pull this card, finances, resources, and opportunities, there's something better than you think out there on the horizon. It may feel like, woe is me, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. And maybe it is right now, but it's not going to be as the week progresses. Partially because now you know it can only get better. It can only go up. If you're in a Ten of Swords or Devil moment, it can only get better. Now you know. Now you know what you have. Now you know what you need. Now you know how to get there. So allow yourself to embrace the understanding, the idea, and the energy of improvement. It can only go up from here. Okay, so now we're looking at the moon. The cool thing with a new moon, and we'll talk about it when I do my mini read later, but you can plant a seed. You don't have to be as passive as a full moon where you're releasing. And this is a slightly different temperance. We'll look at this and then I'll show you the other one in a second. But they're really focusing on the angel and the cups. Usually the angel's holding the cups, but in this particular illustration, the angel is guiding the person to basically balance things out. So you are being protected, connected, and guided by the temperance angel, and it's encouraging you to do it yourself. And basically that's the message. You can do this. This whole thing just looks like a big old Ace of Cups. It's interesting that we have like fire and water kind of as a part of this, but let's look at the traditional one as well. It's about mapping it out, because you'll see in a moment that the temperance angel stands in front of a road, and it's about testing the waters. So before making a major decision or move, test it out, and then map out what your expectations, your hopes, etc. are, so that you can more easily and successfully move through this. Sorry, it was like the second to last card almost. So the path is behind the angel. It's testing the water before it takes a step in any direction. It's making sure that its emotions are balanced. It's listening to divinity, to source energy, and it's going to succeed. We have some sort of a king on the horizon. King of cups, swords, pentacles, whatever I just missed, wands. There's something positive at the end of that road. It's going to get better. We see that again here with this. But the Temperance angel was reversed when I pulled it, and it's saying don't move forward until you've balanced out what you need and what you want. And that's going to be essential in your general success in this week ahead. Okay? All right. Deep breath. Let's I feel like we covered everything and it was good. So we're going to meditate, and then I'll pull a final card at the end. Okay? So let's let go of stuff this week. Because I was picking up on that devil energy, which is a limit. So we're going to let go of the limit. All right. We're going to reconnect with a thistle as well. See yourself in that field of clover. The clover is soft. Like I said, it has this beautiful, sweet scent. You can see all of the pollinators around you. And as you walk in the field of clover, in the middle, there's this very tall thistle. It looks prickly, looks a little scary, but as you get closer to it, you see that there are some ladybugs, there's a hummingbird, there's all of these beautiful pollinators gathering around this brilliant, majestic purple flower, and it's the biggest flower that you've ever seen. I'd like you to sit next to that thistle and imagine that it's kind of facing you. Allow yourself to really connect with the beautiful purple, blue, indigo energy that's a part of that, and imagine that it starts to radiate outward. And it's almost this, it's almost like you're traveling into the center of this flower. And each of the little tiny petals and each of the tiny parts of the flower kind of reach outward. And you can just see this beautiful blue, purple, indigo light at the center. Open yourself up to see the beauty in the chaos, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and to let go of any feelings of being less than or incapable of. All you are in is a momentary pause, a pivot. And as you start to allow the beautiful, bright blue, purple, and indigo energy of the thistle basically diffuse into your auric field, you're opening up to the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra. This week, you're going to be able to articulate when something doesn't feel right. You're going to be able to see past something that seems like it's a block. And you're going to be able to pick up on the best path to get through it. Imagine now that the thistle icon, that the sort of totem of the thistle can also be imprinted upon your auric field. And all of the goodness and the complexity of the thistle. So if someone tries to get at you and they shouldn't, you have those sort of prickles. They'll step back. There's the protection. If you're looking for abundance or opportunity, all of the pollinators, the butterflies, the bees, the ladybugs, and everything, the moths, everything that I haven't already mentioned, they're around your energy. They're helping you circulate and helping you navigate. And then again, the beautiful flower. Let's get to that, 1,000-petaled lotus that is the crown chakra. Let's open up to all of the possibilities. We are so intent sometimes that there has to be one way. There's more than one way. Allow the more than one path to sort of reveal itself this week. Open yourself up to the possibilities, which was in alignment to the daily card reading. Okay. Nice deep breath. Come out of your meditation. Put your feet on the ground, your heels on the ground in particular, since I saw that, and think to yourself, I'm ready for the next step, whatever that might be. Welcome back, everybody. All right, now is a moment for a final question and a final card. If there's something that you need some help with, think about it. Focus on it. Give it to the stars. All right. A choice is in front of many of you. If you asked a yes or a no, the Two of Pentacles is saying you have to follow what's best for you, and this may not be an easy choice. The Two of Pentacles and the Two of Swords often aren't easy. If it's a financial question, it's a no. There's a tentative balance here that That it feels like there's something where you need a little bit more. I'm not super happy when I look at 2, 4, or 5 of Pentacles as a potential outcome. So there needs to be a greater reciprocity, easier to say. There needs to be more give and take. The other thing with the 2 of Pentacles is I want you to weigh all of the options before moving forward. So getting back into the understanding energy and buying some time, I think it's really important to do all of that in this moment in time. This is interesting. There may be someone in your life that is asking you maybe these exact words, or maybe it's what you're thinking. What's in it for me? So ask yourself what you're getting out of it. That's exactly how it came through. What's in it for me? Am I learning? Am I growing? Am I knowing something different because of this? If not, then I need to make a choice and I need to say no to something. Because with this, the elasticity that is usually a part of this sometimes has a point where it will bend and break. So don't be afraid to ask for more. Don't be afraid to ask for more time in particular. And you're probably going to have to make a choice and say no to one thing. And that's going to be important in your general happiness. But as a yes or no, I think you need some more time, some more money, some more information. Okay? All right. Good times. All right. Since we were talking about that, I think, do I have purple confetti? I used to have multiple colors. Yeah, here we'll pull out the purple confetti. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this magical reading. I appreciate the special topic that allowed me to go a little bit deeper and in whatever direction I needed to go. So thank you. We're going to do some gratitude here in just a moment. But before I get into the thanks, please, if you're brand new and you like this, just hit that like button and subscribe. It's 100% free. It helps the channel. And I appreciate it. It lets me know that you got something out of this. You can give back in the form of a super sticker, super chat, or to become a member. And all of these help me more than you know. I'll say thanks in just a moment for all of that. You can find out more about me on my website, including all of my social media handles, which are here. It's always Nicholas Ashbaugh on all the major places. One thing to be mindful of is I saw something crazy pop up on Facebook and Instagram where they had taken a screenshot from one of my podcasts and then created a bio and a quote, and they seemed to infer that I was connected with the brand. I'm like, I don't know who the heck this is or why they're using my likeness. I put in a report. I'm sure it'll take a day or so for that to be taken down, but just be smart. There's a lot of sort of like suspect people out there. I'm pretty good about seeing it. Always let me know if you see something like that. If there's an official partnership or association, I'll always say it. Sometimes I get decks from US Games or something like that. That's an example of, yeah, that I have like a relationship with them, but I'll always let you know, look, I just got something from them. Or, hey, I just joined this company, but I'm not, if someone's using my likeness, it's not of my permission. So be smart. I have to always, I feel like it's whack-a-mole. And the more that AI gets out there, the scarier it all gets. But it'll be announced here through an official channel if anything's happening. So always be smart. Okay, let's get into the gratitude. Alrighty, so first of all, welcome everybody. It was just really great to be with you today and to spend some time here in this lovely little channel that is called YouTube. All right, I'd like to take a moment to recognize anyone that's celebrating an anniversary or that gave back or that gave a sticker. I'm going to group it all together. All right, pauses in passages. Thank you for the lucky 10. I appreciate that. Celebrating 18 months of membership is institutionalized. I remember reading for you in my 4.5-hour marathon the other night. So thank you so much. Glad that you're back here as well. Renee, thank you for 32 months of membership, and you're very welcome. Thank you for being a part of this. Welcome to everybody that got a membership from me as well. Good to have you here. Thank you, Donna. Oh my gosh, that was a really kind sticker. You're amazing. Much love and light. I'm glad that this resonated. Colette, thank you for a long time being a member. I see that crown there. Also for a very generous sticker. Glad that you were able to make it, and I appreciate you very much. Jeannie, thank you for that cute little sticker as well. I appreciate you. I've seen you many, many times here in chat. Thanks for being a great part of the community. Sana, thank you, or I hope I said that correctly. Sana, thank you for your kind contribution. SEK, I think that's Swedish, krona, right? So tack så mycket. Appreciate that. Raven, thank you for gifting a membership as well. And thank you again, Sana, for another gift. Very, very kind of you. I appreciate it. Cheers to human intelligence calling out AI. Yeah, you know, I still think that there's a time and a place for AI. Has its purposes. You can have it do like a research task, but you have to vet out the research. I don't even trust it on that. Like, if you want it to find a restaurant, that's what I use AI for. Or help me find an apartment listing. Okay, great. That's a good use of it. But when it's thinking for us, it's not thinking well. Because, again, it's not actually, we should know, like with ChatGPT, it's a large language model. It just sifts existing data. It's not actually thinking. There are different types of AI, but LLMs, we need to be very careful of. And I've seen that. I've been using it for the better part of a year, and I'm like, it's getting worse because the information, garbage in, garbage out. It's a term from like the 60s and 70s. Things are only as good as what you're putting into it. So now I'm ranting, but you're welcome. And yeah, definitely don't just trust chat, whatever it is, or Gemini or any of the AI models out there. They have some work to do, and we still need our brains. Perfectly imperfect. Thank you so much, Deborah. And yes, amen to that. Inixa, thank you and welcome to being a channel member. Good to have you here. Colleen, no need to apologize. I'm just happy that you're here, and participating here is important. I'm welcoming someone of every different, 99 cents is more than enough. Like that's all of us can give. Like never apologize. I'm just happy that you're here, and I appreciate everybody, every level, which is why I'm trying to take my time with every sticker here. Nicole, thank you. Thank you for being a lovely part of this community. Yolanda as well. Monica, I appreciate you. Shelly, you're amazing too. Thank you very much for your kind contribution and generosity. Jeannie, good to see you here again. Thank you for being a member. And yeah, here's to the mountaintop and aerial views. We need them indeed. Sana, thank you. That's the third time I think you've given a sticker. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you got something out of this. Leslie, thanks for your membership and also for being a sticker. And for any members that I forgot to thank for both, thank you for both. And then Gia, good to have you back here and being a member for 25 months, well over 2 years. All right, that was a lot, but I think we got through all of it. Thank you again. This week I'm going to embark on the next set of videos. Like I said, we're already going to start the November and December ones. I'm doing more specialty readings, which is fun for me. And that's why I did the 2-month things. It frees me up to do different things and to rest and to do better quality readings. So for now, that's kind of where I'm at. I appreciate you guys, and you know I'm going to change because that's what I've done for almost 11 years now. Things ebb and flow. I'm always welcoming feedback, but in the meantime, I just want to say one more time, thank you for being amazing. Thanks, Dakota, for your assistance in moderation. By the way, thanks, Handan. I appreciate you. But I hope all of you have an amazing week ahead. Take care of yourselves. We got through this. We'll get through whatever's in front of us. Let's give Apollo a pat on the head and call it a day. Hey, Apollo. Oh, what have you done to your hair? You look crazy, buddy. I know, I still love you, even with all your bedhead. Thank you very much. It's time for him to go to the groomer, but he is cute no matter what. Thanks, guys. Take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. Like I said, I will be doing the eclipse and new moon reading a little bit later today. Keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you have opted into notifications. Much love and light. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.